Hi, this is Wayne Williams of Speaking of Horses, and we're proud to be partnering with Northwest Horse Source, bringing you videos about the horse industry through our association with this publication, Northwest Horse Source. So, let's watch our current video of the week. Hey, I'm Wayne Williams, Speaking of Horses. This show is brought to you with Carl Bledsoe, training, horsemanship, Just Gait. Carl Bledsoe, located in North Georgia. And Carl's glad to be here to bring you some wonderful information. This has to do with mounting and the work in trail riding. But right now, this is Carl Bledsoe's moment to shine. Here we are with Just Gait, Carl Bledsoe horsemanship, direct from North Georgia. Well, let's watch.
Good morning. I'm Carl Bledsoe. I have a gated horse training facility in North Georgia, and I'm coming to you today to share to you some skills that I use, that I teach younger horses. Early on in training, it helps me get the horses supple and them paying attention to me to where I can use different parts of their body. But it's a great skill to teach your horse, like if you're going to be a trail rider. I don't know how many of you guys trail ride a bunch, but we do quite extensively. And you know, when you're out trail riding, from time to time you have to get off your horse, and we trail ride with some people that some of the people are kind of short and have trouble reaching their horse's stirrup, and I have a few friends that have horses that are, you know, a little jittery and won't stand to get on. And we teach this skill to teach the horse how to come pick you up if you're on the trail and you need a little bit of help getting on your horse. And this is a young guy right here. He's kind of picking at me a little bit. So this is a skill that's got, you know, it's threefold. It teaches the horse to pay attention, teaches the horse to hook on with you. It enables you to maneuver different parts of the horse's body, the front end, the hindquarters, the barrel. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I want this horse to come to the rail and pick me up. So if I were on a trail and we're not in a place where I could get on this horse, and I had to stand up on a ledge or maybe a stump or a fallen tree or something, and needed the horse to come pick me up, this is the skill that I would use, that I teach these animals how to do that. So there's 2 or 3 components to this thing, so I'm gonna get started. The first thing I got to do is teach the horse, just get him to move and get him to paying attention to me. And what I want him to do is move around me, and I want to be able to influence his hindquarters and get him to stop. If you notice there, he moved his hind end away and he stopped. I'm gonna move his shoulder back towards you and get him to come past me. He's moved over here. Ask him to move his hindquarters over and stop. Now, this is a 4-year-old Arabian that I've had here for a short while in training. He has just been started this year under saddle. I do mainly gated horses, but sometimes I get something of a different color or a different breed, and I'm not breed specific. My heart's with the gated horses, but this guy came specifically because the lady that owned him needed this skill. Getting back to what we're doing, I'm gonna move his shoulder, and I just want the horse to kind of pay attention. I want him with me, and I want him very supple. In other words, I don't want him overusing his body or real high strung. And I'm gonna ask him to move his hindquarters away again. Now at this point in time, I'm gonna introduce it's an extension of me. Whoa, it's an extension of me. And I'm going to introduce it a little bit, because in a few minutes I'm going to have it to start teaching this skill. So what I want him to do is, I don't want him to be afraid of it. I want to be able to use it around him, easy boy, any way that I need to. I'm going to move him on out. Ask him to give me his hindquarters again. This is the first component to this, is getting the horse to walk his hindquarters away. To stop his forward, walk his hindquarters away. I'm going to stop his forward, walk his hindquarters away. Let him turn off there just a little bit. Now break this down into steps, guys. You don't want to teach the horse to just run past you and disengage. You want him to disengage and stop and look at you. Lower his head if you would. and really be in the lesson, because what I'm trying to instill in this horse, if we're out on the trail and I need to communicate to him, he's going to have to shut off everything else that's going on around him, where he can know that I need him to come pick me up. But once again, I'm going to move his shoulder. I'm going to ask him to stop. And all I did was ask him to move his shoulder away from me. Now I'm going to ask him to go forward, go past me. When he gets past, move his hind end away and stop. He's anticipating me a little bit. That's the reason I said a few minutes ago, don't just make them run back and forth and disengage. Stop and break it down and take your time and spend some time with the horse. Now, I rubbed him a few minutes ago on his other side with my lunging whip, so I'm gonna rub him on this side with it, get up over his head. All of this work you do, you need to do up over the horse's head as well. It just teaches the horse not to be reactive. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to teach the horse to not react to anything, but to listen to everything that I ask him to do. So I'm gonna move his shoulder away again. Turn off. Now, some of you guys that do a lot of in-hand work may recognize right here, there's a game that you can play called the squeeze game on the fence, and this is kind of like the squeeze game, but it's kind of got my own feel to it. Move on forward. Disengage. Back up just a little bit. Now all I'm doing with all of these different maneuvers, guys, is I'm getting the horse to watch me and not use any more energy and not overdo anything that I do. The main thing that I want this horse to learn, along with coming to pick me up, is to wait. So many times I'm at a horse show, helping some friends or at a trail ride. A lot of times at the trail ride, I see people that get to the trail ride and they're in such a hurry to trail ride that the horses are jittery and just all excited. Teaching your horse to wait, to take one step and wait and be okay with everything that's going on around him is paramount to me for a horse that's level-headed for the trail. I'm gonna get him back with me. We're just gonna move on again. Now you see, guys, I'm just taking a lot of time to communicate, and all I'm doing is spending a lot of time just with communication. Back up, back up, back up. The reason I'm doing this, communicating, this can get kind of boring, but you want the horse to be interested in what you have to say. You want the horse to realize that when you approach him a certain way, when your body has a certain look to it, that you have an expectation of him. But when you're standing here neutral and you're not putting any energy or any emphasis on him, that you'd really like for him to stand in one place and just be really quiet and relaxed. And it takes a long time to do this. Now, this horse looks like he's pretty automatic at it, but we've spent a lot of time, and I've done an exorbitant amount of work over his head to teach him not to be reactive. So we've done this movement on the ground a little bit over towards the gate. I'm going to move him out in the openness a little bit. You just get the same maneuver. And the reason I do it in the openness is because he's got to learn, even though I don't have the gate behind me to hold him or kind of trap him, he still needs to understand the same communication. So he's moved his shoulder. Now, you guys can't see it, but I've got a wide open space right over here. And if he wanted to, or wasn't with me, he could just take off wherever he wanted to. So having the skill with this animal to stay with me in this task is paramount. Move forward. We'll send him out and around just a little bit. Disengage. I want you to stop right there. Now, we've got the openness out here again. I'm going to ask him to move his shoulder. Then I want to turn off. And all I want him to do is just give me one step over. If I ask for another step, I could get it, but you guys can pretty well see that every question that I ask this horse, he's pretty much answering it. So we're going to stand for just a minute and let him relax, and then I'm going to get up on the rail and do the same movement and then show you guys how I get him to move over to me. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time rubbing, because after I get on the rail, I'm going to be on the top rail of the fence over here, and I'm going to be over the top of his head, and I'm going to be using my tools over his head, much like if I were sitting astraddle to him and needed him to do stuff. So I want him to be really relaxed and ready for what I'm asking him to do. This guy's been a lot of fun. He was a hard case at first because he was really reactive. So we're on the fence, and I'm just letting him get a good look at me. Don't have a big expectation yet. I'm gonna move around a little bit. I'm gonna raise my tools a little bit, and just let him find a place to relax and see that I'm not gonna hurt him. If they walk around a little bit after you get on the fence, don't try to make the horse stand still. It's in their nature when they're uncertain of something to want to move their feet. That's the flight instinct. So even though he's not running completely off and he's moving just a little bit, he is in flight mode a little bit until he's certain that I don't have an agenda, a hidden agenda, with being up here on the rail. So after I move my tools a little bit and get him kind of accustomed to me moving up over his head, I'm okay with he moves his feet just a little bit. I just wanted to move from side to side and kind of stay relaxed. Ideally, what I would like for him to do is get to one side or the other. So I'm going to ask him to go on out and change my tools here and ask him to move his hind end over. Okay, so we're going to stand there just a little bit, and I'm going to relax and just let him get comfortable. Little bit by little bit, I'm going to bring him up over towards me and get him just to stand a little bit closer. Just a little bit closer. Come on, buddy, right? He's not certain right here, so I'm not going to force it. I'm waiting for him just to let down just a little bit. You see him blinking his eyes, so he's really, really, really trying to assess what's going on. Okay, he's licking a little bit, so he might be okay. Let me see if I can get him to move on forward. Come on. Good boy. Okay. So what I want to do is make certain that he is okay with the idea of me being up here. It doesn't matter, to me it doesn't matter how good your task is if the horse is not relaxed doing it. If he doesn't have a complete understanding and he's not completely relaxed to where he doesn't fear. You know, you can get a horse to do anything, but if he's not relaxed doing it, he's not going to remember it. So let me move him on forward. Change my tools around a little bit, get him to move his hind end away. Aren't you anticipated to go just a little bit? Back up. Back up. Good boy. Now what I'm trying to let him do is see me in both eyes. I want to make sure that both eyes are completely okay with me being up over his head, and then we'll start working a little bit. But I don't want him to equate me being up here on the rail that he has to overwork. I want him to stand as quietly with me up here as he did when I was on the ground. So you have to take your time and do this and be very methodical. And every time they do something correct, let them soak on it a few minutes. Stand there a few minutes and, you know, play with your cell phone or talk to your buddy over there next to you or something, and give the horse time to settle in and get clear in his mind that you just want him to be right here with you and relaxed. He's kind of looking around. He wants to move a little bit. See, I don't punish one for movement. Anytime a horse feels like they need to move their feet, it's because they're either uncertain of something, or maybe he's telling me what he thinks of me. I'm not sure. I am going to ask him to move a little bit now and get him back into the lesson. He's pretty much okay with me being up here. Good boy. We'll move around again. I want this movement and this disengagement real clear before I start bringing him in. If he walks into me there, I'm going to back him up a little bit let him stand there. I don't want him to anticipate going forward and charging into this. I want him to wait on me. The waiting is the key to getting this to happen. It's the horse thinking about what you're doing, the horse looking at you and reading you, instead of just automatically doing this because we might have done it yesterday or the day before. And you know, a lot of folks, I don't know how many folks trail ride Arabians, there's quite a few folks around here. These guys right here get way ahead of you on the test. If they've done something 2 or 3 times and you get out here to do it, they'll be like, oh, I can do that quicker than you can, Dad. And before you know it, the horse is way ahead of you. And it gets him excited when you start slowing him down. So slower's better when you start this. The more times that you can stop and let the horse relax and assess what's going on, the better off you are. Now we're doing the same movement up here on the gate. Doing the same movement up here on the gate. Move your hind end over. Hind end over. Hind end over. This is the exact same movement that I was doing on the ground. He's just going backwards and forwards in front of me. So I've got him pretty well set up here to move. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask him right here to stop and face me. And I'm going to ask him to come in just a little bit. And it's been several days since he's done this, so he might say, Dad, I'm not certain. Okay. I'm going to rub him with my whip. Rub him with my whip. And then I'm just going to reach back there and get him to move over here to me. Cool. Now, you notice how he's a little bit excited right here? He's raised his head. He's not certain what's going on. You see me move the whip and him clamp his tail a little bit. This is where you spend the most time with him relaxing. If you can make this be the place he's most comfortable, if he can find some comfort with you and you can work on his self-esteem right here and make him understand that you would really like for him to be here with you, they'll come to you every time and pick you up. So could you imagine being on a trail and having a little trouble getting on your horse? You might be, you know, you might be riding on a mountain trail or somewhere where there's just absolutely no way that you can get your foot high enough to get in the stirrup. And you get this horse to kind of come to you and pick you up and just stand here and wait on you to get on him, would be awesome. I'm going to do this movement one more time. Move forward. Move him around there. Move him back over here. Change my tools, disengage his hindquarters. Bring him back over this way. Ask him to stop. Go forward a little bit more. Ask him to stop. Whoop. Come in here to me. Now really take your time doing this, okay? Just ask him to come over here to you. Back up just a little bit. Good boy. Good boy. Now guys, that's what you call having a horse with you. Understanding the skill set and absolutely trying his best to work with you. I hope I've helped you today with a task that would work good for your trail riding. I teach this task just to get the horses to be supple and relaxed. Enjoyed spending time with you this morning. You can find me on Facebook, Just Gait, or Carl Bledsoe, or my website is Carl Bledsoe Horsemanship. You guys have a great day.